Good evening, Danvers. Welcome to the topics of the town news. I am Mark Zubarek, and I have a special guest with me again today, Michael Hagan. Today is May 6th, and we'll be holding this meeting on Zoom, so help us out. Today, I am sorry to hear that John Toomey is still unable to make it due to being more cautious than normal. Today, we'll focus on election results. The agenda and opinions are solely by the topics of the town news host and commentators. Today, what I like to do is, first of all, as far as everybody knows, I was the fourth candidate for the school committee in the town of Danvers. But what I like to do is read you a small blurb that I put into the Facebook account that I have. But it's congratulations to the school committee candidates. It was a pleasure to compete with such distinct and accomplished candidates for the Danvers School Committee. All candidates were determined to improve the level of education, improve communication, and assure that our entire community will be represented. You definitely have your work cut out. I want to thank Alice Campbell, Robin Doherty, Johan Hunter, and all the voters who came out and participated in this election. It was a large turnout, unexpected, but it was about 2,800 voters. I congratulate Alice Campbell and Robin Doherty on their win and wish them success. I offer thanks to everyone who encouraged me to run, and good luck to the winners. Michael, I have a opportunity for you to say something in case you want to. Please.
Thank you, Mark. I also want to extend my thanks to those people everybody who came out and voted, took part in our democracy. I want to congratulate those who ran and those who won. Very strong showing by some. Donna Hopkins did a wonderful job. We have a new young lady on the board with us, and we have myself returning. And it was a long, cold day, but it was as a result. It was good to see everybody out there, and I look forward to going back again and for 3 more years.
Thank you, Michael.
Jessica Cargill. I should mention her name. Jessica Cargill is the one who won with myself and Donna Hopkins.
There you go. Thank you. So you've got your three members that are going to be back on the board, or one way or another. The other thing that I wanted just to express, and I just want to recognize that Rick Betancourt did not win his selectman seat, but instead of him being here today, I'd like to congratulate all of the candidates for the Board of Selectmen because they have conducted themselves well. We've had very contested, discussions, and DCAT provided some very good opportunities for the candidates to present their positions. This is not a concession speech, but it's a congratulations to the select board candidates and thanks to voters who came out to vote. That was the important piece. The one thing is happened on Tuesday morning. Basically, everybody got soaked. So today, as a result of the elections for the Board of Selectmen, we're going to have at 6 p.m. we will be watching the Select Board in action. We anticipate a new plan to open the town hall and access to our residents. So that will be something that will be discussed tonight, so it'll be worth watching. And it starts at 6 p.m. and it's at the Holton Richmond Middle School. David, if you can just put down my favorite cartoon. I miss the good old days. Remember when you could actually have an opinion without offending somebody? This has been present on our show for, probably 2 months. And I appreciate the cartoon because it is so sensitive to any opinions that we may have. And we do have opinions, and we will express them on this show. So the next clip, we missed the first one, but next one is Courage is Grace Under Pressure. And this is relevant at this time. This is by Ernest Hemingway. And it's relevant because many people have courage, and they all came out to volunteer their time and their dedication to the town by being placed on the ballot and volunteering to do service for the town. So courage is grace under pressure. And it's a self-explanatory comment, but Ernest Hemingway made that back in the 40s, I think. Now, the next segment I have here is how COVID has changed the role of government forever. Now, last year, Danvers was promised that if they masked up, practiced social distancing, and limited their travel for just a few weeks, we would be able to move on with our lives, to reopen our businesses and ensure that the medical system was not overwhelmed. Sadly, power-hungry politicians and the medical establishment, eager to establish government control over our lives, refused to surrender their authority, even as it became clear that our hospitals were not being swamped. What's astonishing, however, is the fact that millions of Americans either tolerated or encouraged the stripping away of their freedoms for a false sense of security. Now we're seeing the results of this disastrous policies. Many of small businesses have been forced to close in Danvers. These small establishments are being trampled by mega corporations, which have continued to operate. Houses of worship have been shuttered, with politicians unconstitutionally ordering millions of religious Americans into their homes, forbidding them from exercising their right to peacefully assemble and worship as they see fit. Arguably, worst of all, these lockdowns have proven that education has suffered across the town and will invariably affect the development and welfare of our students and our children. The truth is that while mask mandates and lockdowns will eventually come to an end, Americans' perspectives on government seems to have changed forever. Danvers elections must and have introduced a bold vision for the town of Danvers, one which ensures that the government stays out of our pocketbooks, out of our schools, stops the establishments of businesses and places of worship where people can freely go and do their business. This has been on my agenda for the last 2 months, and I did not present this article. This is something that I've accumulated over the months, and I strongly believe that we are on the way to recovery. However, this recovery is taking too long. So I was announcing at 6 p.m. today the selectmen and the town manager will have a new plan for opening the town hall. Maybe this will be something that will happen. Michael, you have anything to add to this?
I've been following it, of course, being the chairman of the board of the library, and I was hearing some information about a possible plan to be reopening in some manner the town itself. Now, the library, now people can go, I think starting next week, going to be, I think it's every day that they're open, they can go into the Gordon room and browse and look at some books there. And I think in the children's room, there's going to be access to computers for people to utilize. As far as the upstairs goes, there's been contact with Public Works to a work order type thing to get the further construction done, COVID plastic shields and things like that in place. So that is still going to be a while yet, but slowly moving in one direction with the library itself. Town hall, I thought I heard that there was going to be an announcement, but I have not seen anything.
Right. Well, we're expecting something this evening, so hopefully that will unblock the backlog of information that we're not getting. So let's hope we get some results, because it is time to open this town, and it is time to reacquaint ourselves with our neighbors and our town employees, because they have been suffering as well. So the issues that I'm bringing up is that churches have finally started opening up because there was a outrage from the population, and now they're beginning to open it up, but it's still not as it was in the past. The other item that I have on here is current candidates for the Board of Selectmen and the future of Danvers town government. And I like to just present this a little bit. Topics of the town news often find ourselves agreeing with the Danvers Board of Selectmen's goals, but we often disagree with its means to achieve them. More and more, through a lack of transparency and espousing half-truths. As we stated years ago, we are witnessing assertive decisions and actions that leave some residents and town volunteers and employees feeling either pushed to the side or completely ignored. We have seen people who don't agree with the current establishment get booted off boards and commissions. It's too bad, because we believe differences in opinion forge a better and stronger policies and decisions. We are concerned with the Danvers Town Hall turnover and employee retention, and this pattern's financial cost to taxpayers. Over the past several months, we have seen and heard of serious erosion in morale among town employees. And that may be part of the problem as a result of this COVID restrictions. We need selectmen who bring an independent voice to the board. The two seats before Danvers voters on Tuesday were in contention, and we need voices to reflect the current business outlook for Danvers. We mostly need someone willing to represent the Danvers residents who will put their trust into the two new independent voices on the board. The two voices that we have elected on Tuesday are Gardner Trask, who has been there for 15 years and is coming up for the next 3 years, and Matthew Duggan, who's brand new to the board, but he has been attending many, many meetings. We need someone who listens when people talk, understands what they're saying, and wants to consider both sides of an issue before making any decisions. We believe listening speaks louder than words. Mike, what do you think of that statement? Because that is something that I have been reserving for after the elections, because I think we have some new voices on the Board of Selectmen.
I think, I think Matt, who does his homework, will listen, and I think he'll ask a lot of the right questions. I've never been the new kid on the block as a selectman. You must have been there, and it must be a kind of a feeling of getting in the club. Those who were there before, and now you show up. It must be kind of finding your way type thing. Maureen Bernard last year, when she got on, she's finding her way, starting to speak up, taking a position. I think Matt will probably have a lot of positions already, I think, in his mind. Whether they're going to prevail or not, who knows? But I think he's somebody that'll listen to the people, I think.
And that's what we need. And the most important function of a Board of Selectmen, or a select woman or a select man, is that they need to get the feel of the residents, of what are they really concerned about. And it does not come out at the board meetings, because the board meetings are very official and orchestrated. The thing is, when you said being the new kid on the block, oh, the new kid on the block is going to solve all the problems. The problem is that you cannot do anything by yourself. You have to get the board convinced to follow you. So there's a challenge out there. So I'm hoping that at least the Board of Selectmen have heard the residents, because I had a lot of comments from them in regards to the selectmen race, but also on the school committee race. So what I'd like to do next is follow up on the school committee race, because we have some serious issues that need to be addressed. And I just want to share this with the newly elected and the prior school committee candidates and contestants. The most serious issues the new school committee must consider are a priority. Most urgently is creating and implementing a plan for safe return to in-person learning. And they have done that. There is a return to class The lower grades and the high school are now in session. And the upper grades must return as quickly as possible to a regular session because the level of education has declined. The pandemic and rapidly changing state and local regulations for returning back to school have been frustrating for students, parents, residents, and teachers alike. Students deserve a quality education. It must not be hampered by the political restrictions which continue to be imposed on our educators, students, and entire community. Now, that is a very important factor because as I've seen it in action, is that Massachusetts Department of Education is what released the backlog of going back to school. We are all proud of the commitment that the Danvers community made to support our schools. This includes competitive salaries, which attract quality teachers, administrators, state-of-the-art technology, and facilities. Our school facilities are the envy of the North Shore. Over the years, the facilities were built to best support our students with feedback from our community. The key elements of the school board to succeed must include an independent school committee that must lead and not just follow, making the education process more open and obvious, getting community feedback, input, and putting it into action. That was one of the major comments that I received when I was campaigning, is that nobody's listening to us. The school committee is doing their own thing and they don't care what the residents think. And we need improvement of expectations, technology, and standards. That's more important than anything else right now. And our level of education has declined quite a bit over the last 25 years. So, Michael, you got anything on that?
I think that you make a good point in some ways. I know that some of the I can't remember which candidates were saying, but they were indicating that they were questioning the amount of money spent per student in Danvers and other communities, the same amount, and they were getting better results with their students. Must have been, higher scores or something, and that was something that I guess they'll probably be looking at.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a fact that what the school committee is looking at their budget, and they claim that is adequate to support the salaries and wages and the supplies for the school system. But they always ignore the fact that Danvers, in their calculation for total school expenses, includes another $24 million worth of town supplied facilities, grounds, maintenance, cleaning, and all the functions that make those schools operate. So what we need to do is we need to clearly look at the balance sheet of what is actually being spent. And when we go through those numbers, and you, as you know, I'm a numbers guy.
Sure are.
The numbers are not there. We spend almost $18,000 per student, and what the school committee claims it's 16,000 or 15,000 something. So we need to look at the right numbers. And the same thing happened with the calculation of the cost for Essex Tech. Essex Technical High School is claiming to be, I don't know, 3.4, $3.5 million for the education of the Danvers students. And Danvers students are paying right now, our town is paying almost, I think, $19,000 a year per student, which is very comparable when you look at the composition of their budget and their expenses to what Danvers does not include into the school committee controlled budget. They always ignore the 20 some $1 million that are being spent on maintaining the facilities. The school education has deteriorated to a level where I think we need to seriously look at it. And this is one of the reasons I ran for the position on the school committee. Teachers have finally returned to in-class students. How well did the remote teaching even work even during the pandemic? That's one thing we need to determine. How well did our technology work and how well did the students learn anything? Parents are frustrated and the town continues their imposed restrictions. School issues surfaced, but no information is available to the taxpayers. What are the issues? How will these be resolved without public knowledge? The entire town is interested in resolving some of these issues that have occurred at the high school or the middle school. We need to engage the entire community. And that's where one of the issues that I ran on. Another item on here is cost of education has skyrocketed without controls. How has that worked? We pump a lot of money into our education because we are all proud of what has happened in the past. But we need to get results. What is the return on this investment? That's where the school administration and the school committee needs to be challenged. And one of the things that was very interesting during the finance committee hearings, even the finance committee doesn't understand what's going on with Essex Tech. Essex Tech is a magnet to students from Danvers. Why is the tech more attractive? And what should we do to improve the quality of our own high school education? Because that's where it's being compared to. The costs are not the issue. It's the challenge to the students. They have a different type of education that's being given at Essex Tech, where it cannot be given at Danvers High School. So that's something. You went to Danvers High School.
I did. I graduated in 1969.
Well,
I'm going to go back and get my honor certificate.
did you?
No, I think they lost it.
They can't lose it.
I think they lost it, but
So the next clip that I have coming up is more appropriate to what we've just been reviewing. David, if you can throw up Mark Twain on there, I think this will be there we go. It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. That is such an appropriate statement now. And it was at the time when Mark Twain was writing his literature. And then the thing is that these quotes come up out of nowhere. And I think, this is the sentiment that's happening right now. And this is where I wanted to get that government article into play, because it is very, very easy to fool people, but you cannot convince them to go back. So Michael, anything on Mark Twain?
I learned about Mark Twain when I was back in school. I think I even did a book report on it, but I can't remember that much about it. But brilliant lad. I love this quote.
Well, he was very instrumental in getting his message across. That was, I think, Huckleberry Finn. He wrote that.
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. So you must have read those. I know I did, but it was in English too. So I didn't have to learn English to read that book.
He even talked about people playing hooky. That he inspired young people to play hooky once in a while.
Well, they can always come and paint my fence. All right. So the next segment that I wanted to get across to our viewers is that we have the results from the town clerk's office, and there was 2,800 plus or minus 2,800 voters that came out and cast their vote for the various positions. What I'm looking at here is we had our town elections consisted of the first position is town moderator. Pat Frazier came up with 2,066 votes out of the 2,837. There were some blanks. So I don't understand why people go and vote and leave blanks on there. So I don't know. Maybe they haven't made their choice before they came into the auditorium. The next position is the Board of Selectmen. Matthew Duggan, Rick Betancourt, Gardner Trask, and Tim Donahue contested for the position of 2 seats. And in this case, Gardner Trask won with 1,444 votes, and Matthew Duggan came in with 1,177 votes. And in this case, I also noted here 865 blanks. If you come out and vote for someone, and I can understand why some people do it. It's called bullet voting. And you vote for one person only and then you move on. But it's still interesting to see how many people do that. School committee, we had Robin Doherty, Ellis Campbell, Johan Hunter, and Mark Zubarek. And the winner was Robin Doherty with 1,785 votes. And the next one down was Alice Marie Campbell with 1,220 votes. And again, 872 blanks. I didn't win that position, but that's, I could have used those blanks. However, next item is the library trustees. And let me just move on here. And we have library trustees. We had Jessica Cargyle, Dana Hagan, Joseph L. Younger, Holly Ergens, Donna Lynn Hopkins, and there were 6 write-ins as well. But there were 2,758 blanks. That doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right. I don't know. This may be a misprint. But in this case, Michael Hagan won. Jessica Cargyle, is she won? Yes. No.
Yeah, she won.
She won.
Yep. And Donna,
and Donna Hopkins won, right?
yep.
Okay, so those are the three winners on that position. It has been an interesting race this year because of the conditions that we have experienced in weather, for one thing, and prior to that, the uh, people are fearful of letting you talk to them inside their home, but they do talk to you over the doorstep, with the screen door open, and that's worked out very well. However, in this case, Robin Doherty reached out to many more people than the rest of us, but Alice Campbell won, and I congratulate both of them. So what we want to do is congratulate all of the voters, first of all, because they did come out, and all of the candidates because they volunteered to come out and challenge themselves for those positions. And I appreciate that very much. So, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this show a little short, but Michael Hagan, do you have any questions and final comments?
No, Mark, I enjoy being on here with you. We have a lot of good conversations, bring up a lot of good points. I'm looking forward to moving forward with the library. Hopefully, be reelected as chair for the next year and getting that library moving and hopefully open. Provide the services. I mean, they're providing a ton of services now, but more where people can actually come in the building. At some point, when the decision is made that the numbers allow it, it'll happen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and I wish you well on your endeavors with the trustees.
Thank you, Mark.
And my final comment is more broad because I have decided to continue my efforts with this show. This has been an experience in itself over the last, I don't know, I think we've been doing it with John Toomey and John Zavaglia for the last 20 some years at least, even before that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue my efforts on the show. However, as you may already know, I have not qualified to be elected to town meeting. So I hope you miss me with my commentary in regard to the budget and the warrant articles, because those need to be picked up by someone else. We need to have our town meeting members energized to the point where they actually do ask questions and actually take a vote at town meeting instead of just saying yes to everything. Now, you know that in past years, our town budget is grown up to almost $140 million now. And that budget is voted and approved in less than 10 minutes, item by item. And the thing is, I wish that the town meeting members would take more interest in what's going on, because I have, and I've asked a lot of questions, raised a lot of issues, but have not been able to convince town meeting to vote otherwise. So our next broadcast is going to be on May 20th. And our show will be right after the town meeting, which will be on May 17th, I believe. Yes. And by then we'll have all the results and see how bad our tax rate is going to be in the future, because the tax rate is not going to be set until December. So, David, if you can just throw up the next clip that I had used on Facebook, but I want to wish every one of our mothers that are, in Danvers, and we have quite a few families in this town, and it's a Happy Mother's Day is on Sunday, May 9th, all day, and from then every day, mothers should be appreciated. Now, this bouquet I used on my campaign for school committee, and this has been gathered from my daughter's garden, and I wish her mother, Eleanor, best wishes and a happy Mother's Day. Anything else, Michael?
No, I agree, Mark. Happy Mother's Day, everybody, and uh, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll go on from there.
We'll see you on May 20th.
Okay, Mark?
Same time, same place.
Before that.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.